week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
We are local.
International communities observing every
Just finished speaking.
Why the main market is in chaos. People are...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
We have taken it through by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Bright and early as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day. We at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
Wayek is overrated, and they even overrated themselves and went into CBT. They are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never heard what it was CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change a narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. We are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning, weekdays, and Signature New Day, weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
Tired of the snow? Tired of the bad TV signals? Nigeria has gone digital. Introducing Free TV, the national platform for every Nigerian. Get 100 plus channels immediately. Sports, news, and entertainment in your native language. All with clear picture quality. Whether you're in the city or the village, our satellite signal reaches every corner of 36 states from day one. No monthly subscription, just a compatible decoder and you are set. It's a national asset built for you. Take the show on the road, download the Free TV app and stream your favorite channels anywhere. Starting this May, scan to download the app or call 0700 388 7277. Free TV, digital TV for free. Brought to you by NBC.
We are local.
international communities observing every
Just finished speaking.
Why the main market is in chaos. People are...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
We have taken it through by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Get
plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on e-vibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
I should try harder, so...
Okay, I don't know that one.
Outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hub's on e-vibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
Signature TV. News in your pocket.
You don't tire for this picture? Or ya make you follow Unorodo? Nigeria don't go digital with free TV. Over 100 channels they wait you. Sport, news, and better entertainment for your own language. No matter where you dey, whether for city or whether for village, the satellite signal they reach every corner of Nigeria from day one. No monkey payment again. Once you get to get free to air decoder, you don't win. This one now our own national asset. Even from your phone, you feel watch out. Just download the free TV app and carry your TV go anywhere you dey go. Scan that code now or call 0700-388-7277. Free TV, digital TV for free. Brought to you by MBC.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Chigichi Agorom, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on e-vibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
I should try harder, so...
Okay, I don't know that one.
Outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hub's on e-vibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
New every morning on Signature TV. We open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem.
There is no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left in all the accounts of Anambra State 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
Tanko said within 4 years of Peter Obi's tenure in office, he will show the roadmap of achieving fundamentally improved electricity and the general economy of Nigeria.
Nigerians are producing some of the best ideas on how to generate electricity all over the world. So why can't we do it at home? Because we have leaders who have already triumphed in criminality. Because we have been depending so much on Kenji Dam for years. Have you seen any innovation? None. The one that they did and stole the money was in Mambila Plateau. When BBC did an investigation, they went and found that there's nothing on that particular ground. A Peter Obi will never do that. In fact, he will go there almost on a monthly basis to ensure that the project is up and running. Within 1 year, His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi can show the roadmap to building strong electronics consumption to the people. We're just running about 3,000 and all. He can improve it to about 10,000 within 1 year. Because we have the expertise, Nigerians have the expertise to put those mechanisms in place. Just 1 year.
According to Tanko, his principle will make an impactful leadership, display accountable and transformative.
Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Christopher Lele. In the headlines, 2027, Makinde declares presidential bid, forms alliance with APM. Kuala to digitize child protection, unveils software for orphanages. Russia launches hundreds more drones at Ukraine, killing 3 people. And 2 killed as Israel ramps up southern Lebanon attacks ahead of U.S. talks. Details in a moment.
Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has officially declared his intention to contest the 2027 presidential election, saying Nigeria needs urgent political and economic reforms to address growing hardship across the country. Governor Makinde made the declaration. Governor Makinde made the declaration on Thursday during a mega rally held to announce a political alliance between the People's Democratic Party and the Allied People's Movement. Addressing reporters at the event, the governor expressed concern over the worsening conditions of Nigerians and called for stronger opposition unity ahead of the 2027 general elections. Makinde said Nigeria's democracy depends on a functional multi-party system, warning that the opposition must come together to provide what he described as the reset the country urgently needs. He stated that citizens can no longer remain spectators in national affairs, urging Nigerians to actively engage in shaping the country's future. The governor also announced that the PDP-APM alliance plans to field candidates for positions ranging from the presidency to state assemblies across the country. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has dismissed the presidential ambition of Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, describing it as a dead-on-arrival matter. Wike made the remarks on Thursday while speaking with journalists during an inspection of ongoing road projects in the Gomani-Yangoje area of Kwale Area Council in Abuja. According to Wike, Makinde's alignment with the APM was part of a long-standing political strategy aimed at pursuing his presidential ambition outside the mainstream structure of the PDP. The FCT minister insisted that Makinde would not emerge as the presidential candidate of the PDP, adding that the alliance being promoted by the Oyo State governor lacked the backing of key party stakeholders. Wike also dismissed reports suggesting that Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed supported any PDP-APM coalition, saying such claims existed only in political speculation. The Kwara State government has announced plans to strengthen child protection systems through digital innovation and improved welfare management for orphaned and vulnerable children across the state. The initiative was unveiled in Ilori during the inauguration of the Kwara State chapter of the Association of Orphanages and Homes Operators in Nigeria, alongside a two-day training program focused on child welfare and foster care advocacy. Speaking at the event, Kwara State Commissioner for Social Development, Miriam Nafatima, described the program as a major step toward improving standards of care for vulnerable children. She said the training was designed to equip orphanage operators with modern caregiving skills, child protection, knowledge, and better management practices in line with international standards. The Commissioner noted that many orphanages continue to struggle with inadequate funding, poor infrastructure, limited training opportunities, and rising operational costs, all of which affect the quality of care provided to children. She called on government agencies, corporate organizations, philanthropists, and development partners to support initiatives aimed at strengthening child welfare services in the state. A major highlight of the program was the introduction of the Children First software, a digital platform designed to improve record keeping, monitoring, and protection of children in orphanages and care homes. Kwara State Coordinator of Asogo, Christy Omaheli, said the software would replace outdated paper-based documentation systems and help operators track the welfare, education, health, and movement of vulnerable children more effectively. According to the organizers, the technology is also expected to improve transparency, accountability, and efforts to combat child abuse and trafficking. Nigeria and Germany have signed a €365 million development and export financing agreement aimed at boosting private sector investment, renewable energy, and economic growth. The agreement was reached in Abuja during bilateral development cooperation talks between Nigeria's Minister of Budget and Economic Planning and Germany's Federal Minister of Economic. Germany's Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. Under the arrangement, Germany will provide €65 million in development support targeted at small businesses, renewable energy projects, and women-led enterprises. An additional €300 million export credit facility will also be made available to support investments by both public and private sector operators in key sectors of the economy. Leading the Germany delegation, BMZ Commissioner for Africa, Philip Neal, said the funding is designed to attract more private capital into Nigeria, particularly through partnerships with the Development Bank of Nigeria and sector-specific investment programs. NIE noted that energy remains a major focus of cooperation, especially ongoing support for Nigeria's Presidential Power Initiative, aimed at improving electricity transmission and expanding reliable power supply nationwide. Nigeria's Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, described the agreement as part of a broader strategic partnership focused on investment, innovation, and inclusive growth. Bagudu said recent economic reforms by the federal government, including foreign exchange liberalization and improved revenue mobilization, have created more opportunities for private sector participation across the states. President of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, says his company rejected attempts by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC Limited, to increase its stake in the Dangote Petroleum Refinery beyond the current 7.25% ownership. Dangote disclosed this during an interview with the Chief Executive Officer of the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund, Nikolai Tangen, explaining that the decision was taken because the group plans to eventually list the refinery publicly and allowed more Nigerians to own shares in the project. The billionaire businessman stated that although the original agreement allowed NNPC to acquire up to 20% equity in the refinery, the national oil company failed to complete payment for the additional stake before the deadline expired. Dangote also revealed that the refinery is now processing crude oil above its installed capacity, reaching about 661,000 barrels per day, despite a nameplate capacity of 650,000 barrels per day. He noted that improved local refining has significantly reduced Nigerians' dependence on imported petrol, with official industry figures showing domestic refineries supplied over 3.18 billion liters of petrol in the first quarter of 2026, compared to imports of about 965 million liters. Industry data further showed that locally refined petrol accounted for more than 76% of Nigeria's total fuel supply during the period. As Nigeria grapples with emerging health concerns and widening gaps in healthcare delivery, stakeholders are calling for a stronger investment in health education as a critical tool for national development. This formed the focus of the 33rd inaugural lecture of the Ebonyi State University, Abakaliki, where scholars and public health experts examined the need to reposition health education to meet contemporary realities. Our correspondent reports. The 33rd inaugural lecture of the Ebonyi State University, Abakaliki, brought together a broad spectrum of stakeholders, including health professionals, policymakers, academics, business leaders, students, and community figures, underscoring the relevance of health education in national development. Representing the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Michael Awoke, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Academics, and Chairman of the Senate Ceremonials Committee, Professor Ike Oba, described the lecture as timely and thought-provoking, stressing that meaningful national development cannot be achieved without reforms in the education sector.
There is no way we will move forward as a country if we don't reform our educational system. Education as it is now has failed the society. Education as it is has failed to achieve its goals. And that's why you see a child in secondary school migrating to university, all they think about is how to cheat in order to pass their WAEC and JAM.
The lecture, titled Rethinking Health Education in Nigeria, a critical examination of the profession's limitations and implications for public health, was delivered by Professor Kajetan Ikechukwu Ilo of the Department of Human Kinetics and Health Education. The erudite professor examined the evolving role of health education in shaping healthier communities, preventing diseases, and empowering citizens to make informed health decisions.
You talk about public health, you talk about health promotion. What are we actually talking about? We're actually talking about how to make people live a better life so that they'll have better health outcomes. That's exactly what it is. But when you look at public health from the point of view of what it is, public health is more of a broad thing. But where do people come in contact with what they should know, what they should do, and how they should do it is through health education. So if you talk about public health, you talk about health promotion and empowering people to do what they are supposed to do. How can you empower them if they don't know what to do?
Professor Ilo called for stronger government commitment and investment in education, as well as broader awareness campaigns aimed at closing existing gaps in access to quality healthcare and healthy living.
These are things, if people are given that level of knowledge, literacy, they can prevent them on their own and reduce the cost on individuals, on the person and the government in terms of problems and financial involvement. Most people are sick, which should have been taken care of by taking a good walk every day. And it's a pity that the government fails to see this.
Colleagues in the academia commended the lecturer for his in-depth research and its relevance to ongoing conversations around Nigeria's public health sector.
So what he did today, I'm not surprised. His presentation was excellent and he captured all that he needed to capture in this inaugural lecture.
Family members and friends also joined in celebrating the milestone achievement of the inaugural lecturer.
The moment he was given the date for this, I've been so happy and proud of him. And I've been telling him before today that he has been my hero. And today you can see yourself that I have quality, not just a man, quality. As in the Odogu in academics. So I am so proud, I am so happy, and I pray God to continue to sustain him, give him the wisdom, give him good health to forge ahead for the better future.
Being the family lead, I feel really proud. And I know that this was what our parents wished, well, almost every one of us. And I'm glad to say that every member of our family is very fulfilled in their profession. And what we saw Kaje do today is that fulfillment, getting to the summit of his academic career.
What I pray is that he will continue to fly higher and higher and higher. The sky is his limit. All that academicians get, he will get to the top of it.
From when the MC was talking today, he said that he has capped the academic environment. He has capped it by getting the honor of a distinguished. And of course, you know that formerly people used to think that it's only the senators answer distinguished. Now, in academic level, you can find out that there's also a class called distinguished. So I'm so happy and delighted that.
The event featured the presentation of a certificate to the inaugural lecturer in recognition of his academic contributions and service.
On behalf of the chairman of the Forum of Distinguished Professors of Ebonyi State University, distinguished Professor Chukwu Amario Matai SAN, I issue to you this certificate as inducting you into the forum.
As debates around healthcare access and public awareness continue across Nigeria, the lecture serves as a renewed call for policymakers and stakeholders to confront the limitations of health education and reposition the profession as a vital tool for national development. In Abakaliki, Christopher Lely, Signature TV News. Russia launches hundreds more drones at Ukraine, killing 3 people, and 2 killed as Israel ramps up southern Lebanon attacks ahead of U.S. talks. All of these on the foreign stories.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
At least 3 people have been killed and dozens injured after Russia launched a large-scale overnight missile and drone attack on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Ukrainian authorities said the strikes hit multiple districts of Kyiv and surrounding areas, with emergency services continuing rescue operations at a collapsed 9-story residential building where people are feared trapped under rubble. Kiev Mayor Vitaly Klitschko confirmed that around 40 people were wounded, including children, while Ukraine's State Emergency Service said at least 3 fatalities had been recorded. President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia launched more than 670 drones and 56 missiles in the latest wave of attacks, describing it as one of the largest strikes in recent months. He added that over 1,500 drones had been used against Ukrainian cities in the short period, urging international partners to strengthen air defense support for the country. The Ukrainian military said the attacks also targeted critical infrastructure, including ports in the southern Odessa region and railway networks across multiple areas. Authorities say rescue operations are ongoing as fears grow that more victims may still be trapped under the debris. Israeli forces have intensified air and drone strikes across southern Lebanon, killing at least 2 people and issuing new forced displacement orders as both sides prepare for United States brokered talks aimed at extending a fragile ceasefire agreement. Lebanon's national news agency reports that Israeli airstrikes hit the Ezedine residential project in the town of Srifa, killing 2 civilians. Separate drone activity was also reported near a vocational school between Pregua and Zraria, leaving 1 person injured, while additional strikes were recorded at An al-Tinen in the western Bekaa region. The Israeli military says it has launched a series of attacks targeting alleged Hezbollah infrastructure across southern Lebanon, following renewed cross-border tensions. In parallel, an Israeli military spokesperson issued evacuation orders for multiple towns and villages, including Libaya, Samar, Tafahata, Kaf Malek, Homor in the Bekaa region, and in Tine, Haumin al-Fagwa, and Mazrat Sina. Meanwhile, Hezbollah reportedly launched a drone into Israeli territory near the border, which Israel says injured several people who were evacuated for treatment. Reporting from Beirut, observers say Israel has carried out one of its most intense waves of aerial bombardment in weeks, with repeated drone strikes also targeting vehicles along key routes in southern Lebanon. Lebanon's Ministry of Public Health says thousands have been killed since the conflict escalated earlier in the year, underscoring the growing humanitarian toll as displacement continues to rise. A United States delegation led by President Donald Trump's special envoy for South and Central Asia, Sergio Gore, has been blocked from testing a high-altitude cargo drone at Everest Base Camp, as Nepal finds itself caught between competing U.S. and Chinese technological interests in the Himalayas. On May 1st, U.S. officials traveled by helicopter to Everest Base Camp, located at an altitude of 5,364 meters, to test the Alta X Gen 2 drone, designed to transport oxygen bottles, ladders, and expedition supplies to higher camps on Mount Everest. However, Nepal's Ministry of Home Affairs denied permission for the drone flight, citing regulatory procedures and security concerns, forcing a U.S. team to abandon the test and return to Kathmandu. The mission, organized with local expedition operators, was intended to demonstrate whether U.S.-made drone technology could compete with Chinese systems already operating on the mountain. Chinese-made DJI Flycart drones have been used since 2024 to transport heavy loads and supplies between Everest Base Camp and Camp 1, significantly reducing the workload and risk for Sherpa climbers who traditionally carry equipment through dangerous terrain. Authorities say the dispute over drone permissions has temporarily disrupted logistics on the mountain during the critical climbing season, even affecting existing Chinese drone operations before the ban was later lifted. A United States federal judge has temporarily blocked sanctions imposed by the U.S. government against Francesca Albanese, a United Nations Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territory, in a case centered on free speech protections and the limits of executive power. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon issued a preliminary injunction on Wednesday, halting sanctions introduced in July 2025 against Albanese, who has been a vocal critic of Washington's policies regarding Israel's military operations in Gaza. The court found that the sanctions appear to be linked to Albanese's public statements and recommendations, with the judge stating that the measures were aimed at regulating the idea or message expressed. He also noted that her work carried no binding legal authority and represented personal and professional opinion. Albanese, who has served since 2022 as the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in the occupied Palestinian territory, welcomed the ruling, saying the sanctions had been designed to weaken her mission. The sanctions imposed by the Trump administration had restricted her ability to travel to the United States, access financial services, and conduct transactions through U.S. banking systems. Officials had previously accused her of bias and of actions targeting U.S. interests and its ally, Israel. And that's it on the foreign news. At least 3 people have been killed and dozens injured.
World record holder Toby Amusan has reaffirmed her determination to win more medals for the country after securing her 3rd African title at the ongoing 2026 African Senior Athletics Championship in Accra, Ghana. Amusan claimed victory in the women's 100 meters hurdles final Wednesday night, once again confirming her dominance as one of Africa's leading track athletes. Zimbabwe's Ashley Miller finished in the 2nd place, while Nigeria's Adobe Tabogo claimed the bronze medal to complete a strong outing for Team Nigeria. Reacting after the race, Amusan expressed gratitude to our team, supporters and fans for standing by her throughout her career, saying she remains focused on achieving 7 greater success. In a post on social media, the Nigerian star described the victory as historic and declared that she was still hungry for more achievements on the global stage. The latest triumph adds to Amusan's growing list of continental and international accomplishments, further strengthening her reputation as one of Nigeria's most successful athletes. The 29-year-old is now expected to shift her attention to the upcoming Shanghai Golden League meeting in China this weekend, where she will continue preparations for major international competitions later in the season. Court orders popular Nigerian social media personality Very Dark Man to pay 30 million naira to wife of comedian Mr. Jollof over defamatory statements. Popular Nigerian clergyman reacts to the birth of designer Vicky James and her husband Femi Atere's first child. And the family of Nollywood actor Alex Ikubo confirms his death, saying the actor died of complications related to advanced kidney cancer. Gwyneth Wankota has all the details on entertainment news.
A federal high court in Efuran, Delta State has ordered popular Nigerian social media personality Very Darkman to pay 30 million naira in damages to Mrs. Esinjemiyotan Asepoye, the wife of comedian Mr. Jollof, over defamatory statements made against her. Controversy began in September 2024 during an online clash between Very Darkman and Mr. Jollof. In the course of the disputes, Very Darkman allegedly accused Mr. Jolloff's wife of engaging in extramarital affairs with politicians and internet fraudsters, commonly referred to as Yahoo Boys, to help her husband secure a political appointment in Delta State. Mr. Jolloff reacted by describing Very Darkman as someone who lacked proper upbringing, calling him a product of a broken home. Following the allegations, Mrs. Esinjemiyotan Asepoye filed a 500 million naira defamation suit against Very Darkman in a judgment delivered on May 13, 2026, and signed by Honorable Justice Al Harriman. The court ruled that Very Darkman failed to provide evidence to support his claims. The court subsequently ordered him to pay 30 million naira in damages for defamation. Justice Harriman also directed Very Darkman to issue a public apology within 14 days. The apology must be published in 2 national newspapers and across all his social media platforms, alongside a retraction of the defamatory statement. Popular Nigerian clergyman Bolaji Idowu has reacted to the birth of celebrity fashion designer Vicky James and her husband, Femi Atere's first child. The celebrity couple recently announced the arrival of their baby girl, Eliana, in the United States through their Instagram pages, a development that has continued to generate reactions online. Cementing on the news, Pastor Bolaji Idowu stated that the birth of the child was a clear sign of God answering prayers. He also encouraged Nigerians to remain hopeful and expect more testimonies in their lives. Reacting to the pastor's remarks, Femi Atere appreciated him for his prayers, encouragement, and support throughout the journey leading to the birth of their daughter. Atere further referenced the Bible verse 1 Samuel 1:27, noting that the birth of their child was a significant blessing and an answered prayer. The family of Nollywood actor Alex Ekubo has confirmed his death. In a statement shared on his Instagram page on Wednesday, the family disclosed that the actor died at Evercare Hospital following complications related to advanced metastatic kidney cancer. According to the statement, Alex Ekubo battled the illness courageously in his final days, showing strength, faith, and hope throughout the period. The family also appealed for privacy and prayers as they mourn his passing, noting that details of his funeral arrangements would be announced later. They further expressed appreciation to supporters, friends, and well-wishers for their prayers, love, and support during the difficult time. That's the entertainment news. Gwyneth Wankota, Signature TV News. A federal high court.
That's the of our package this hour. Thanks for watching. I'm Christopher Lely.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Welcome to The Sage, the program where together we journey to uncover the many hidden treasures in our country. I am Dr. Kechi Obuagu, your privileged sage on this journey. Come walk with me. Come discover with me. In this first episode, and many of the subsequent episodes perhaps to come, we shall be looking at a particular problem of huge importance to our country, Nigeria, and to many other countries across the world. The issue of unemployment, the issue of economic disempowerment. Let me just say that I don't know whether those of you out there are aware of the fact that approximately 80%, that is my rough estimate, of the people in our country is made up of young people 40 years and below. And our statistics actually say that of this huge population of young people, 40 to 45% of them have no jobs or are underemployed. That's a huge number. That's millions of them. But we also do know that employment has been made so much worse by the pandemic that is currently on all over the world. And therefore, there's an even more urgent need to do something about it. It's not something that government alone can address. We need a multi-sectoral approach where every hand must come on deck, whether it's government or private sector or the NGO sector. In my auspices as the president of Conversations for Change, we are so keenly aware of this. And that is why a prominent part of that program, we're an international nonprofit, is actually helping young people who are keen on being entrepreneurs to become successful entrepreneurs. And so bear with us, because in the next few episodes, you will see many of those amazing young people who have made a success of their business. But again, let me say to many of you, as we said in our pilot episode, that while yes, we will to begin with showcase these homegrown ones, we are open to hearing from many, many of you out there who feel either you are or that you know other wonderful entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs who can be showcased, whom we can learn from. And so in this episode, I'm so excited. I'm so excited because we have a wonderful discovery for you. A young lady, extremely talented, dynamic, hardworking, creative, innovative. I could go on and on. A young lady that truly, truly has inspired me for the past few months. Stay with me. We shall unveil the package. Welcome back to The Sage. I am Dr. Kechi Obuagu, your privileged sage on this journey of adventure. It is with a great deal of pleasure that I introduce Ngozi Roland Onwegwumoke.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Welcome to the show. And before I hand over to you and ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself, let me say something more, one more thing about Ngozi. You see, I never get tired of talking about Ngozi. But not only is Ngozi hardworking and enterprising, I think one of the things that endeared me to Ngozi after I met her is she embodies that concept of social entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. A heart that is large, a heart that gives from her own successes, that forever is wanting to teach, to mentor, to take others along with her. And she's a living testimony of the fact that when you give, that is when you truly receive. Ngozi, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Please tell us about yourself.
Thank you. I'm Ngozi Roland Onwegwumoke, a graduate of agricultural economics from the Premium University of Ibadan. I also hold a master's degree in business administration. I am the CEO of Safi Event Managers, an event management and catering outfit. I'm also the CEO of Sem Foods and Spices, where we produce natural and healthy spices. I'm also the convener of Business Mind Foundation.
Wow.
A foundation that brings entrepreneurs and intending entrepreneurs together to help create visibility for their business, to also see how we can create partnership and encourage intending entrepreneurs to start up. And it's been a wonderful journey. It's been awesome, and I'm happy to be here today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us and agreeing to share. Ngozi, tell us a little about your business. What inspired you? How did you venture into this?
Just like a lot of young people, I would say unemployment pushed me into converting my passion, which is cooking, of course, into a business. That was how the event management and catering outfits came into play. But like the catering industry that we know, it's saturated. So I decided to create a niche for myself, which is the MSG-free catering. That is cooking without our conventional seasoning cubes. And of course, I can't cook for the whole world. So I started thinking of how can I make these available to people who I can't reach out to. And that's when I decided to create the natural spices. Of course, I may not be able to cook for you, but I can send my spice to you irrespective of your location. And so I launched Sem Spices. And 2 weeks after, I had a terrible, terrible accident that almost took my life. In fact, I had about 28 stitches in my head. So it was a downtime for me. It almost led me into depression. I was discouraged. And the money I used in starting the business, funny enough, was money that was deposited for a wedding I was supposed to cater for. You know, I had this dream, I had this vision, this plan that, oh, you know, like a lot of Nigerians will say, I will just blow when I start, you know? But it didn't happen. I didn't see it happen. And then the wedding was still coming, irrespective of my accident. Of course, I was still going to cater for the wedding. So it was a downtime for me. And along the line, a friend told me about Conversation for Change. Oh, there's an application for a fellowship program, and of course they could give you grants and all that. I said, Nigeria, they've come again. Which one is fellowship program and grants? You know, so I reluctantly applied. And I was surprised. Like 2 days later, I got a call. We are invited for an interview. I said, are these people real? Interview? How? Because I remember I didn't even upload some of my documents. I was like, okay, let me just go and see for myself what's happening. And I was told that out of over 200 applicants, 60 were shortlisted, and I was among the 60. I was like, okay. You know, I met the panel, I shared my experience, my passion. It's my passion, so when I'm talking about it, you know it's a passion, you know. So I talked to them and they said, okay, we'll get back to you. And out of the 60, 15 were shortlisted, and I was still part of them. I was like, okay, I can see, you know. And then we started the fellowship program. They took us through a lot of training, and it made me understand business from a different perspective. So I would say Conversation for Change inspired me to take the next step. They taught me not just to build a business to finance my immediate needs, but to build a legacy for my unborn generation. They taught me how to build structure in my business. So it's a major inspiration. And from there, you talked about social entrepreneurship. Honestly, I didn't even think about that or know about that until I came to Conversation for Change. So they taught us what social entrepreneurship was, about giving back. And that was what birthed Business Mind Foundation. Because I felt, oh, I've learned something from this platform. I can teach it to others who don't have the privilege.
Yeah,
of
how wonderful.
this knowledge.
How truly wonderful.
And today, glory to God, we're over 1,200 members, and we are growing. So C4C is a major inspiration in my business.
Great. This is, I'm overwhelmed myself. I wasn't quite expecting to hear that.
Okay.
But it is what you are. And for us in C4C, it just brings out all those qualities which we are convinced is what we need for this country, for the world as a whole. That where young people come out, have the courage, follow their dream and their passion, work hard, and then, but also with a spirit of giving, that is the answer to the world's problem. Yeah. So Ngozi, wonderful. Thank you for being on the show and for sharing what drives you and the various brands you're in. Stay with us. When we come back, Ngozi will tell us a little bit more about how she survived the COVID, or perhaps you haven't survived. Stay with us. We'll be back. Thank you, viewers, for continuing to remain with us. As for me, I can never stop enjoying talking to you. So we had a wonderful story, but let me ask you for a little bit more in terms of details. How did your 3 branches grow? What is the structure? And so on. What were the challenges? What did you find as the milestones? And how indeed, so in addition to a little more understanding of your various arms of business and how you have grown, over time, I know you have, but also how have you survived the COVID?
Thank you very much. It's not been an easy journey. Before I joined the C4C fellowship program, I had just 4 spices. And to the glory of God, today we have over 20. We have new products as well.
Wow.
We have our teas, we have our granulas, then we have our date powder.
Okay.
So it's been an amazing journey, not easy, but like I said, what C4C did for me was to take me back to the roots. It was like starting afresh. I had to get everything right, from my accounting to my staff management to my customer service. I had to build a structure. I started afresh, trying to write down the visions, trying to create my business plan. I started doing my business canvas, and it helped me put everything I needed in place. So yes, I didn't have everything I needed available, but I had it at the back of my mind that this is what I need to make this business succeed. A lot of people go into business without really knowing what it takes. So at the end of the day, when they get into, when they are faced with challenges, you see it's a problem. So apart from putting this whole idea on paper, having the knowledge of what I needed, I tried to anticipate possible challenges so that when they occur, I just easily go over them instead of them taking me back. So building this structure helped me to know, okay, this is what I make from my sales. In fact, first of all, I had to start afresh to be sure that I'm even making profits. Because the first thing they taught us in the C4C was, is your business a profitable one? So I had to go back to say, okay. And I discovered that, funny enough, in some of my products, I wasn't making profits. So I had to go back to the drawing board to make sure that I got everything right. So my costing, some of these new entrepreneurs, when you're starting a business, you have to equate like the NEPA bills and all that. So these are things knowledges that I was equipped with during the fellowship program. So in building the structure, I knew the number of staffs I needed. I could afford at that particular time so that I don't run at a loss. So I knew the competence, what I needed to look out for in getting my staff. I knew what I needed as a person to also upgrade myself in terms of knowledge. So what I did was to try, because the whole spice thing, I didn't go for training. I wasn't trained on it. It was just a natural thing that came into me. So I needed to do some short courses to make sure I was on point. So when I'm talking to people, I'm not just talking from the point of passion, I'm talking from the point of experience and authority. So it's a different thing when somebody comes to tell you that, oh, use this, and then this happens. But I'm telling you what's going to happen, so I'm ready and equipped for every question you have for me. And I see that has even encouraged a lot of people to patronize me. Then part of the challenge was funding, which was something that Conversation for Change really helped me. From this grant I got, I was able to get the major equipment which I needed, which was a dehydrator. Because the dehydrator for my kind of business is very important. The difference between sun drying and dehydrating is sun drying reduces some of the nutrients of those ingredients I use. But when I dehydrate, it just eliminates the water content of the ingredients. So the funding aspect was a challenge. Then because I was a new business, a lot of people have this, oh, she's new, does she know what she's doing? Entering the market was a big deal. So the next thing I did was gifting. I give you my product for free. Go and try it out. If you
A
like
trial
it,
will convince you.
A trial will convince you. So I knew I was selling trust and not trash. So I took that bold step. So initially it wasn't so profitable because I had to use my money to get money. So by the time people started using it, I started getting return customers and referrals. So that was how the business grew. And then people started calling me. So even in the COVID period, of course, the catering business was almost locked down, you know. And then I thought to myself, okay, there's a pandemic. How do I come in? How do I help? How do I make money from the situation? And I said, okay, I have something I am offering, which is a healthier alternative to the conventional spices you have in the market. I started researching, which is one of the major things I learned from C4C. You don't just go into things like that. You have to research. You have to read. You have to, go to the internet. What do you do with your YouTube? What do you do to Google? You have to get information and be updated. So I said, okay, this is a pandemic that, of course, attacks the immune system. What can I offer? And that was how
Great
I
question. Great question.
So I went back to the drawing board and I said, okay, we have to boost our immune system. And then I brought my flu tea, which is an immune booster. And I put it up on social media. Get this product for your natural way to just prevent the whole COVID thing. And funny enough, it sold. This COVID has been my best period.
Wow.
Not in terms of the pandemic, but in terms of business. I have made my maximum profits. I made sales of over 1.5 million in COVID alone from my spices and my teas. And then the COVID, because a lot of people were at home, they started paying more attention to their health. They started having time for social media to read, okay, what's new, what's healthy. So in the COVID, my vision expanded from creating healthy alternatives to conventional spices to creating healthy alternatives to everything that enters your mouth. So name it. We started with our teas, we started with our granola, and we went into date powder production, which is, of course, your natural alternative to your sugar. So even if you're diabetic, of course, you can use it for your cereal, you can use it for but the flu tea has been amazing. And we have also launched our calming tea to help reduce the stress.
You didn't bring flu tea for us to see?
To help reduce the stress the COVID has brought. But a lot of people have lost their jobs, a lot of people are going through emotional stress. All you just need is our calming tea and you're good. And everything is 100% natural. No artificial additive, no preservatives. Even in the COVID period, another advantage we had where we started having distributors.
Okay.
We started having customers from different states. So what we did was look for the logistic companies that were allowed to move during the pandemic, and people started registering to be distributors. So it made it easily available for my clients, for my customers, to have it at their tips whenever they need it. So right now we are in over 12 states. And it's growing. Even in Abuja, we have distributors in Abuja as it is, So it's like my promise to my customers, I'm bringing this product closer to you. So that is when we launched into the distributorship thing. And it's been amazing and it's really growing. But the most important thing I learned is to sell trust and not trash. Because when you pay attention to quality above profit, the business or the product speaks for itself.
I love that. To sell trust and not trash. That should be a motto for every business in this country, indeed in the world. When you provide quality to your clients, to your customers, that is the sure road to sustainable success and probably true success.
Oh, yes.
I love that. I love that. Let's take a break, but stay with us because we still have some wonderful things to discuss with Ngozi. Welcome back. We've come almost to the end, but still a very, very interesting and stimulating part. Ngozi, let me ask you, can you describe a little bit more about your business? How big is it? How many people do you provide jobs for? Let's whet the appetite of people out there.
Currently, I have 2 permanent staffs and 3 contract staff. Then we have about 12 distributors. So I would say I'm also creating jobs for them because they are selling my products and making extra cash. And the beautiful thing is that most of those distributors have businesses that were really affected by the COVID. So the spice business for them is an alternative income for them. And since it's growing, in fact, I have Some of them order for as much as 150 packs of these spices, like twice in a week or monthly and all that as the order comes. So it's been a really productive alternative for them, productive, what I call it?
Enterprise, their own productivity,
well.
yeah.
Yes, and apart from that, I do what I call unbranded wholesale. So you might be using some spice that tastes like mine. It's also mine, but it's not my brand. So I produce for
In
those
bulk.
who, yes, in bulk.
Okay,
So they
okay.
rebrand and repackage in their name.
My kitchen would like to hear that.
Okay, so I also encourage people that want to go into the spice production business, but you don't want to use my brand name, so I can produce for you and then you work with your brand. So it's like also expand. For me, it's increasing production and sale, of course.
Okay.
But, so don't be surprised when you try out some spice and you're like, oh, it tastes like some spices. It's actually some spices.
Yeah. Are there investment opportunities?
Oh yes, we have actually started. I have a product here. This is a spiced crayfish. I know a lot of people are like, which one is spiced crayfish again? You know, like I said, we're creating healthy alternatives to your conventional spices, but we're also being creative. Spiced crayfish basically is a combination of lots of protein you can cook with it. And like this one, you can see it's cheap crayfish. This actually is a product for an investor. So when we invest in our business, what we do is we create a unique spice for you.
Okay.
So it's like you selling your product with our brand name, because we are already known for what we do. So it's, I wouldn't say franchising basically, but for the investor, like this particular spice, the Chi stands for Chinyere. Chinyere, Dr. Chinyere, she's in the US. So, but she saw our product, she liked what we did, and said, okay, she wants to buy into this. I said, okay, I'll create a unique spice for you. So all the account details for this spice are kept separately from the business account. So we keep tabs of what is happening. So she gives us a percentage and then gets her money back.
Wow, that's a great incentive.
Yeah.
That shows a real business acumen. Thank you so much. Yeah. And to all the potential investors out there, where you don't want to work, but you want to make money, think about Ngozi's business. Ngozi, thank you so much.
Thank you so
It's been great having you on the show. But can you, a last word to our viewers, what would you say to other young people out there?
Entrepreneurship is not an easy journey, but for me as a person, giving up doesn't exist. It does not exist in my dictionary. Whatever the challenge is, you can overcome it. But first, build a structure. Your brain is not for storage, it's for thinking. So when you think, it's important to write down, because what you don't write down, you're quick to forget. So if you have that business idea, write it down. Write the vision down. Write everything it will take to succeed. And then, as you go along at the journey, you can tick. Write everything you need. Do your business plan. It doesn't have to be a complicated document, but it's a guide for you, because every step you take, you can go back and see, what am I doing? Am I derailing from the plan? And with so much passion, you can achieve anything. Why I always ask people, what you do, are you passionate about it? Because when every other thing fails, passion becomes that drive that keeps you going. So keep at it. Giving up is not an excuse at all.
Absolutely. Giving up is not an option. Yeah. I don't think we could possibly end on a better note than that. Giving up should never be an option. Ngozi is wonderful, Ngozi is special, but there are many, many Ngozis out there. And so I echo her words. And if we truly create enough mass of young people who genuinely take on entrepreneurship and make a success of it, we will reduce the unemployment rates significantly in our country. Thank you all so much. We shall continue to bring to you wonderful young people like Ngozi. There are many more lined up for our show. There are many more out there. Please do write in if you would like to be part of the show and feature. We've had a great time. I hope you have had too. Once again, I'm Dr. Kechi Obuagu, your privileged guide on this journey. I thank you. Till the next time.
you every morning on Signature TV. We open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem.
There's no outstanding graduate when Obi took over from me. I left, in all the accounts of Anambra State, 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
Tanko said within 4 years of Peter Obi's tenure in office, he will show the roadmap of achieving fundamentally improved electricity and the general economy of Nigeria.
Nigerians are producing some of the best ideas on how to generate electricity all over the world. So why can't we do it at home? Because we have leaders who have already triumphed in criminality. Because we have been depending so much on Kenji Dam for years. Have you seen any innovation? None. The one that they did and stole the money was in Mambila Plateau. When BBC did an investigation, they went and found that there's nothing on that particular ground. A Peter Obi will never do that. In fact, he will go there almost on a monthly basis to ensure that the project is up and running. Within 1 year, His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi can show the roadmap.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Good morning. Welcome to Signature Morning on Signature TV. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Uchenna Chimdi Olwoha, and of course today is Friday, the 15th day of May 2026. It's always a pleasure to have you join us as we wrap up the week on Signature Morning. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll look at what is trending on the newspaper headlines this morning. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now looking at the headlines on our newspapers this morning, we'll start off with the Punch newspaper. And the Punch says, fierce lobbying tension as APC primaries begin. With riders, don't wreck the boat, Tinubu urges APC leaders, aspirants. Consensus talks collapse in Taraba, Yobe, Kano, Oyo APC office attacked. Kaduna moves to calm post-screening tensions. APC chieftains sue for peace. Besides the mass, UUTH doctor says EFCC operatives assaulted hospital workers, dragged me into van on pages 4 and 5. Now looking at page 19, 2027 polls spending may trigger inflation, MPC warns. And still on 2027, Makinde joins presidential race, warns against one-party state. Above the mast, still 2027, Atiku Amechi submit ADC presidential forms on page 7. The Guardian newspaper's headlines, the big story pages 4 and 5, says nutrition crisis, economic crunch squeezes poultry farmers, pushes eggs off menus. Nigeria will attract almost $20 billion FDI this year, Tinubu project. NEMA alerts 30 states to possible severe flooding, urges prevention. And on the news page 3, ADC faults fresh loan, FG's economic model. MSF treats over 440,000 malnourished Nigerian children as hunger crisis worsens. FG worried as regions receiving 80% education funding record lowest literacy rates. Makinde declares for 2027 presidency. Wike rejects PDP-APM alliance. Amid pushback, APC opts for direct primaries as Tinubu warns against do-or-die politics. NMA threatens ₦1 billion lawsuit against EFCC over assault of UUTH doctors. And finally, on The Guardian, on the news page 9, it says, Nigeria rallies donors, partners to fund $6 billion Ogoni cleanup. Over to The Nation, it says, Tinubu, Nigeria attracted $20 billion foreign investments this year. APM Terminals pledges $600 million in fresh port ventures. Makinde declares for president on APM platform. PDP disowns Governors Alliance claim. The news page 2 says zoning not priority in ADC, says Hayatuddin. Amechi, I am most qualified for ticket. APC members to vote in 8,809 electoral wards for reps tickets. With rider, President urges rancor-free fair primaries in 360 constituencies. And on page 2, PDP screens presidential, governorship, National Assembly aspirants. All right, now let's look at the Daily Trust newspaper. It says consensus rift. Logistics force APC to shift primaries. Peter Obi says, I won't seek second term even with gun to my head. 2027, Atiku Amechi submit forms for ADC presidential ticket. NCDC says Lassa fever death toll hits 191. And on pages 5 and 6, how Makinde's presidential bid may reshape 2027 contest. That is it for the Daily Trust. Over to the Nigerian Tribune. Page 2, it says that Makinde declares for presidency, calls for national unity against one-party rule at massive PDP-APM rally. Still on page 2, ADC faults FG's move to seek fresh $1.25 billion World Bank loan. APC primaries, Tinubu cautions party leadership. Governors urges fair contest. Crisis rocks Oyo APC. Secretariat attacked over alleged imposition of candidates. Page 3 headline says Southwest Development Commission secures rail license to drive regional connectivity, economic transformation. SEC raises alarm over rising Ponzi scheme on social media. Page 30 says automotive industrial growth. NADDC-DG or SANIPI calls for strategic development of after-sales services. Page 6 says OPE supports over 1,000 Osun students through Play for a Child initiative. And finally, on health, page 3, scientists reveal best exercise for knee arthritis pain relief. That sums up our newspaper headlines this morning. Do stay tuned as we'll be back shortly for the review.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Bright and early, as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day, we at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
Why it's overrated, and they even overrated themselves and went into CBT. They are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never had what it was CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change the narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. We are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning, weekdays, and Signature New Day, weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives. New every morning on Signature TV. We open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem.
There is no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left in all the accounts of Anambra State 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
The 33rd inaugural lecture of the Ebonyi State University, Abakaliki, brought together a broad spectrum of stakeholders, including health professionals, policymakers, academics, business leaders, students, and community figures, underscoring the relevance of health education in national development. Representing the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Michael Awoke, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Academics, and Chairman of the Senate Ceremonials Committee, Professor Ike Oba, described the lecture as timely and thought-provoking, stressing that meaningful national development cannot be achieved without reforms in the education sector.
There is no way we will move forward as a country if we don't reform our educational system. Education as it is now has failed the society. Education as it is has failed to achieve its goals. And that's why you see a child in secondary school migrating to university, all they think about is how to cheat in order to pass their WAEC and JAM.
The lecture, titled Rethinking Health Education in Nigeria, a critical examination of the profession's limitations and implications for public health, was delivered by Professor Kajetan Ikechukwu Ilo of the Department of Human Kinetics and Health Education. The erudite professor examined the evolving role of health education
in shaping healthier communities, preventing diseases, and empowering citizens to make informed health decisions.
You talk about public health, you talk about health promotion. What are we actually talking about? We're actually talking about how to make people live a better life so that they'll have better health outcomes. That's exactly what it is. But when you look at public health from the point of view of what it is, public health is more of a broad thing. But where do people come in contact with what they should know, what they should do, and how they should do it is through health education. So if you talk about public health, you talk about health promotion and empowering people to do what they are supposed to do. How can you empower them if they don't know what to do?
Professor Ilo called for stronger government commitment and investment in education, as well as broader awareness campaigns aimed at closing existing gaps in access to quality healthcare and healthy living.
These are things, if people are given that level of knowledge, literacy, they can prevent them on their own and reduce the cost on individuals, on the person and the government in terms of problems and financial involvement. Most people are sick, which should have been taken care of by taking a good walk every day. And it's a pity that the government fails to see this.
Colleagues in the academia commended the lecturer for his in-depth research and its relevance to ongoing conversations around Nigeria's public health sector.
So what he did today, I'm not surprised. His presentation was excellent and he captured all that he needed to capture in this inaugural lecture.
Family members and friends also joined in celebrating the milestone achievement of the inaugural lecturer.
The moment he was given the date for this, I've been so happy and proud of him. And I've been telling him before today that he has been my hero. And today you can see yourself that I have quality, not just a man, quality. As in the Odogu in academics. So I am so proud, I am so happy, and I pray God to continue to sustain him, give him the wisdom, give him good health to forge ahead for the better future.
Being the family lead, I feel really proud. And I know that this was what our parents wished, well, almost every one of us. And I'm glad to say that every member of our family is very fulfilled in their profession. And what we saw Kaje do today is that fulfillment, getting to the summit of his academic career.
What I pray is that he will continue to fly higher and higher and higher. The sky is his limit. All that academicians get, he will get to the top of it.
From when the MC was talking today, he said that he has capped the academic environment. He has capped it by getting the honor of a distinguished. And of course, you know that formerly people used to think that it's only the senators answer distinguished. Now, in academic level, you can find out that there's also a class called distinguished. So I'm so happy and delighted that.
The event featured the presentation of a certificate to the inaugural lecturer in recognition of his academic contributions and service.
On behalf of the chairman of the Forum of Distinguished Professors of Ebenezer University, distinguished Professor Chukwu Amario Mataya SAN, I issue to you this certificate as inducting you into the forum.
As debates around healthcare access and public awareness continue across Nigeria, the lecture serves as a renewed call for policymakers and stakeholders to confront the limitations of health education and reposition the profession as a vital tool for national development. In Abakaliki, Christopher Lely, Signature TV News.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigichi Agorom, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
A federal high court in Efuran, Delta State has ordered popular Nigerian social media personality Very Dark Man to pay 30 million naira in damages to Mrs. Esinjemi Asepoye, the wife of comedian Mr. Jollof, over defamatory statements made against her. Controversy began in September 2024 during an online clash between a Very Dark Man and Mr. Jollof. In the course of the disputes, Very Dark Man allegedly accused Mr. Jolloff's wife of engaging in extramarital affairs with politicians and internet fraudsters, commonly referred to as Yahoo Boys, to help her husband secure a political appointment in Delta State. Mr. Jollof reacted by describing Very Dark Man as someone who lacked proper upbringing, calling him a product of a broken home. Following the allegations, Mrs. Esinjemi Asepoye filed a 500 million naira defamation suit against Very Dark Man in a judgment delivered on May 13, 2026 and signed by Honorable Justice Al Harriman. The court ruled that Very Dark Man failed to provide evidence to support his claims. The court subsequently ordered him to pay 30 million naira in damages for defamation. Justice Harriman also directed Very Dark Man to issue a public apology within 14 days. The apology must be published in 2 national newspapers and across all his social media platforms, alongside a retraction of the defamatory statement. Popular Nigerian clergyman Bolaji Idowu has reacted to the birth of celebrity fashion designer Vicky James and her husband, Femi Atere's first child. The celebrity couple recently announced the arrival of their baby girl, Eliana, in the United States through their Instagram pages, a development that has continued to generate reactions online. Cementing on the news, Pastor Bolaji Idowu stated that the birth of the child was a clear sign of God answering prayers. He also encouraged Nigerians to remain hopeful and expect more testimonies in their lives. Reacting to the pastor's remarks, Femi Atere appreciated him for his prayers, encouragement, and support throughout the journey leading to the birth of their daughter. Atere further referenced the Bible verse 1 Samuel 1:27, noting that the birth of their child was a significant blessing and an answered prayer. The family of Nollywood actor Alex Ekubo has confirmed his death. In a statement shared on his Instagram page on Wednesday, the family disclosed that the actor died at Evercare Hospital following complications related to advanced metastatic kidney cancer. According to the statement, Alex Ekubo battled the illness courageously in his final days, showing strength, faith, and hope throughout the period. The family also appealed for privacy and prayers as they mourn his passing, noting that details of his funeral arrangements would be announced later. They further expressed appreciation to supporters, friends, and well-wishers for their prayers, love, and support during the difficult time. That's the entertainment news. Queen F. Wokunta, Signature TV News.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
Welcome back, and now it's time to look at an interview we had with Okike Ezugu, and in that conversation we discussed 2027 political build-up from collapsed coalitions to rising oppositions.
Morning, and I have a guest with us already in the studio, Okike Ezugu. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's talk about the coalition, all right? Let's also talk about the rising opposition party. Currently in Nigeria, can we say we have a strong opposition party against this current administration?
It will be hard for anybody to say that, because there was a build-up to what would have been a massive opposition force.
But it was eventually frustrated by a combination of factors. I can say the fact that the ruling party was doing everything it could, leveraging on the institutions of the country which it controls to frustrate a possibility of a united coalition of opposition parties. Then you can also blame the individual aspiration, or what you could call the interests of the major figures in the opposition party, which eventually caused a splinter. And now, instead of having a united opposition which is going to mount a meaningful challenge to the ruling party, we have a splintered opposition. We have some of the major figures in the earlier coalition, have moved into another political party, and some have stayed in the ADC, which was the major opposition party that was building up before the eventual splinter.
Yeah. So would you say with the failure of the coalition, so to speak, does this weaken the chances of opposition parties to unseat this current administration?
To a large extent, because time is important in politics. It is true that they say that 1 week is almost like a year in politics, but it could be negative and it could also be positive.
Okay.
If the opposition parties that came together initially, continued without having any personal problems, any internal problems from when they started, then eventually during the election they would have something formidable to present. But the splinter has caused a lot of problems. It's not as if maybe P2B and Rabi Okwankwasu, the former governor of Kano State, who are now in the NDC, individually speaking, do not have what it takes, considering the results of the previous election, to unseat the current government. Yeah, but they've wasted a lot of time. And it might be detrimental to what they would be able to possibly achieve in the 2027 election.
All right, and then there was one of the speculations that I came across online this morning is that INEC is looking at going for aspirants that have registered in like 2 parties. You're in this party, maybe defected to the other party. I don't know if they deregistered themselves or something. I don't know. Do you see any of this affecting any of these aspirants and the defections so far?
Yeah, from what we have seen, you can see that the institutions of the state which are supposed to be impartial, like umpire and the supervision of the political activities in the country, have been decidedly, I'm not sorry to say this, siding with the ruling party. So this is strange, it is novel. We don't have any legal principle which is going to support them to deregister a political party because a figure have moved from one party to another. Cross-carpeting or decamping from one party to another has always been a permanent feature of Nigerian politics since 1999. I don't think it has caused the deregistration of any political party, because it was the internal issues they were having in the other platform that made them to move to a new platform, which they conceived has less legal problems. So for anybody to come up now and start innovating strange or novel rules, to cause the deregistration of any political party simply because you don't want to see some people in the ballot, it will be staunchly resisted, and I don't think it would fly. It might just be one of the distractions they are manufacturing to make sure that they are not focused on campaigning or trying to educate Nigerians on the failures of the ruling party and to present themselves as alternative.
All right, so looking at the coalition, right, and as well the rising opposition, that's the NDC, with them sharing votes, this is the angle I'm coming from. When they were all in the ADC, people had hope. Most Nigerians had hope that this will gather enough momentum to unseat this present administration. But with the divides you're experiencing now, and one in NDC, some in ADC, and the likes, do you think 2027 election is still very competitive for this current administration?
I think it is competitive if you consider the activities of the ruling party so far since they took office in 2023. Nigerians have experienced the level of hardship they never experienced.
So you think Nigerians will still come out? Even if Nigerians come out, do you think these individual parties, in quotes, the ADC, the NDC...
The outcome of the 2023 election has actually caused a lot of political apathy in the country. People are now politically apathetical. Nobody wants to take part in a process they believe is fundamentally flawed, and does not guarantee any free and fair result. But eventually, you have people who are politically active, who would still encourage people to vote and come out and exercise their civil obligation. And from that number, I believe that Nigerians are informed, and they lived in Nigeria during this during the span of this administration, and everybody experienced what happened. It is going to be difficult for the ruling party, considering what they've done in office.
Okay, so let's look at, you talked about voter apathy, right, which is one of those challenges that the youth Nigerians experienced in the last elections. Let's talk about the trust of the citizens, Nigerians. Looking at, yes, Nigerians currently have a common challenge, which is the economy, insecurity, and because of that, if not for anything, they're not too comfortable, happy with the present administration. And even if Nigerians want to, in quotes, do something about that, with the rate of defections, talking about the pattern that Peter Obi has been experiencing lately, from Labour Party to ADC, from ADC to NDC, and even when some Nigerians were already happy that ADC was the hope, and that was scattered. Do you still see Nigerians having the motivation, the encouragement, the ginger, so to speak, to come out to vote? Because most of them are weakened with the fact that even if the popular saying that where you go, we go, with the OB statement, do you still see Nigerians coming out, youth, to vote? Do they still believe that there's some sort of salvage for the Nigerian citizens?
Yeah, the fates of Nigerians, who observed the coalition when it was building up, before the splinter, it was they looked at it with, measured optimism. Nigerians who are politically informed, because everybody knows about the perennial ambition of Atiku Abubakar, who was incidentally gathering people to support him in the coalition. He did not want a situation where another candidate would emerge from the coalition outside of himself. So people who had studied the pattern of his politics knew that it would be difficult for the opposition to present Obi or any other candidate outside Atiku Abubakar himself. So when eventually Obi moved from the coalition, it did not come as a surprise to many people. And I believe Obi has a large and stubborn constituency, who always follow him wherever he is going. What we are playing in Nigeria is not the party-based politics or ideology-based politics. It is essentially personality-based now, from what I can see. And that Atiku Abubakar have always exploited the structures of long-entrenched existing political parties. He does not have the kind of court following that Obi has. The votes he got in the 2023 presidential election, just a vote from traditional voters of the PDP, of the People's Democratic Party. It's not as if anybody came out to vote because Atiku has this charming message that he presented before Nigerians, or that he represents any revolutionary idea that the masses could identify with. They just made use of that structure. Obi was the one who came from nowhere, picked a political party that was completely obscure, an underdog, and transformed it into a national party overnight. Winning 35 seats in the Federal House of Representatives, sending 7 persons to the Senate, and producing a governor in Abia State. So it was politically miraculous, and that he was alone there. The vice presidential candidate he made use of, it was a political debutant, someone who did not have any experience in party politics prior to that, and did not have any grassroots basis. Now he is trying to work with the former governor of Kano State, Rabiu Kwankwaso, who, as everybody knows, has a strong influence in the Northwest, especially in Kano, which is the most populous state in the country. It is true that Kwankwaso did not do very well in the last presidential election, but is a force to be reckoned with, if I should use that expression. So I don't think Obi should be written off because of what has happened in the opposition.
Okay.
They still stand a cat's chance in hell, if I should talk with that kind of measured optimism. It is not uhuru for the ruling party.
All right, so let's look at the role of social media. You also know the role social media played last election, how social media gave you hope, so to speak. When you see the youth, you see some other personalities.
I think the ruling party are their greatest problem. The kind of hardship people have experienced in Nigeria since Tinubu took office is fairly unparalleled. I don't know anybody who is rational, uninfluenced, that would come out on election day and decide to go and vote the APC again. That's what Nigerians have experienced.
That's where I'm actually driving at now, because
it is true that, I'm sorry to interrupt you, that Muhammadu Buhari was, fairly unpopular by the time he was leaving office, and he was the representative, so to say, of the ruling party, and people did not like him. But there has never been anything like this. I have never seen a government this unpopular. At least Buhari, tried to be fair and democratic in his approach to the 2023 election. He did not interfere with opposition parties, and he did not try to make sure that, a threatening candidate did not, get represented in the election. He tried to give everybody a level playing ground, to ventilate their political ambition. But with what this government has been doing, in addition to the economic hardship we have experienced, it is completely unpopular. And this is what counts in elections. So it doesn't matter how unprepared these opposition parties are, they will get their pound of flesh.
Okay, so the momentum that social media gave, the past elections, and then you see the crowd of people online, supporting and giving go-ahead, thumbs up to Peter Obi. And at the end of the day, well, of course, we've got quite a number of voters that came out for Obi, talking about youths in their numbers. But with the way Nigeria politics is now, and with the challenge of last elections, right, it seems, many people would say, that Peter Obi, in quotes, has social media fans and not real-time voters. Do you think this would be a challenge? Also, looking at the challenge of them casting their votes last election without seeing the dividends of that. How most youths could be discouraged with things like that. We even saw in one of the videos where somebody tore their voter's card because they felt there was no need to even have one, since it does not count. Do you see this as a challenge?
That cynical remark about the obese constituency existing largely on social media, I think it has been logically and effectively put to rest. You saw what happened in the last election. He won Lagos State, for goodness sake.
Okay.
You know, if we are talking about social media foot soldiers, and it's even controversial, but in many quarters it is believed that he actually won the election.
Okay, sorry to cut in, please. And also to add to this, you're saying now, if you take a look at some of the states in Nigeria, most of these states are dominated by the APC, the ruling administration, right? And then I want to believe, which you also know, that most of these states, no governor will want his or her state, you know, to be taken away from them, you know, with another, to another party, so to speak. So it's going to be a serious battle, you know, for any other party to come from nowhere to snatch, you know, the state from them. And looking at the effect of last election on the youths.
Yeah, I think we have a useful hindsight to rely on in this instance.
Okay.
I don't know if you are from ENUGU, but I was in ENUGU and I was actively involved in the last election. You know, I worked for the Labour Party. I am proud to say that. And then the governor of Enugu State then was not a member of the Labour Party. We did not have any physical structures, so to say, in the state. But the Labour Party won virtually everything, with the exception of the governorship election, the result of which remains controversial. So the fact that the state governor is in the APC, you know, is not going to affect, you know, the voting pattern of the masses, because some of these state governors are not performing in their respective states and they are deeply unpopular. So
within the states?
Within the states. So they are not going to perform miracles simply because they are in the government house. And just as I said, we have hindsight to rely on. When Obi picked the ticket of the Labour Party in 2023, Labour Party was not controlling any state in the country. But you could still see the impressive results he recorded. And it's still controversial, but people genuinely believe in many quarters that he won the election. You know, I'm being cautious because I am on air. So if someone who did not have any state governor, who did not have any person in the Federal House of Representatives, who did not have any senator, who even hardly had anybody in any state house of assembly in the country could come and do this, what makes you think that Nigerians with better information now would not even do something greater than what they did in 2023? Okay. So some of these, you know, old guard, you know, traditional considerations that people put into their political calculations, they are not sacrosanct.
Okay. Let's look at INEC. You know, many people were disappointed with INEC's, how would I put it, the way the election went last time. You know, talking about the beavers, the different irregularities that Nigerians faced during the elections. Do you think INEC is prepared enough, you know, to face next year's election? Not just about the equipment and the tools that we're working with, but about the political pressure, you know, because there are states that, you know, that you see these state administrations forcing their way in. You know, can INEC stand their ground and say no to some of the irregularities? Do you think INEC is well prepared to manage this challenge?
Yeah, just as you've pointed out, the challenge, the major challenge that INEC is going to have in the 2027 election is not going to be logistical. You know, you cannot attribute it to issues of logistics. It is about political insulation and independence. And it's unfortunate, from the gesture we have seen from the main INEC bunks, you know, it is going to be foolish optimism for anybody to expect that INEC is going to be independent, that INEC is going to be the impartial umpire that is going to oversee a free and fair election.
So are you saying it is impossible for INEC as an independent body to be independent on elections?
INEC is not independent. A situation where the INEC bunks is appointed by the president, you know, as some speculate with some conditions, you can see that there can be no measure of independence. So unless we have a completely independent body that is charged with the responsibility of conducting elections in Nigeria, we will continue to face these challenges. And the time that ADC had legal problems, the statements coming from INEC and even the investigation of the former political life of the current INEC boss, which showed that he has a kind of sympathy for the ruling party. You can say that the issue of independence is a serious one.
Okay, so if I understand you clearly, you still feel that INEC will likely not be independent during the elections. They will still favor some sort of...
The issue, the major problem that Nigerian democracy, as a nascent democracy, has been facing is just, the fact that the ruling party instrumentalizes, the core institutions of the state in their favor. They control the judiciary, they control the INEC, they control the security apparatus of the country, the police, the DSS, the army. And on the election day, they try to use these institutions or agencies against the opposition parties. And that is the problem we've been having, because all these agencies and the institutions are not independent. So unless they are independent and willing to conduct free and fair election, for any opposition figure to emerge as the president of the country is going to be more of a revolutionary struggle, where the masses would vote and insist that their votes would count. And that is going to be something close to a revolution before it happens. So that is the major challenge.
Okay, still talking about major challenges, right, and also the opposition parties this time. What lessons do you think they should learn from last elections? What were those lessons, those challenges that you would say maybe they didn't really carry through, they didn't really do well, that this fourth election, maybe they should do better? What lessons do you think they should learn from their mistakes, failures?
The lesson they should have learned, they've started making mistakes. The splinter is unfortunate. The splinter among the major opposition figures in the country, namely Atiku Abubakar, Kwankwaso, and Obi on the other hand. It's unfortunate because if you look at the election result, Atiku got roughly over 6 million votes in the election to come second. Obi equally got over 6 million votes, and Kwankwaso 1-point-something million votes.
Imagine all of them being together.
And the Bola Tinubu was eventually declared winner of the election, just 9 million votes. So if they had come together, to unite their support bases and their votes, then logically speaking, they would have dethroned the ruling party. But individual ambition, and then the fact that the seed of discord is being sown, in the party by the ruling party. They've succeeded in splitting them, and that is where the challenge comes from. If Kwankwaso had, joined Obi in the last election, Obi approached him, it probably would have been a different result, because it would have given him the votes he needed from the Northwest. So I think they did not learn anything from hindsight, from this splinter, but we are still, cautiously optimistic.
So how would you say, democracy have been like, in Nigeria, like the political landscape? But is there some sort of improvement, or are we still facing what we face?
There is no improvement. There is no improvement. If there is any progress we recorded in the past in our democratic journey, it is being unfortunately rolled back, especially in the build-up to this coming 2027 election. It has there has never been a time where the ruling party is blatantly, trying to ensure that we have a one-party state. That now, you saw what happened when Muhammadu Buhari was president. There was vibrant opposition activities in the country, and Buhari did not show much interest in suppressing dissent or opposition politics. But you can't say that today. Before now, the president had made sure that all the state governors decamped to the ruling APC through both carrot and stick approach. This is not how it should be. For a democracy to be said to be thriving, we need vibrant opposition activities. And I am not seeing it. The spark of opposition we are seeing in the country, the ruling party is doing everything within its ability and within its enormous powers to make sure that it's, stifled and completely suppressed.
All right,
so since I became an adult and started voting in Nigerian election, I started taking serious, interest in the civic life of the country. I have not seen opposition politics, so to say, face the sort of challenge it is facing in Nigeria today. So I don't think we've recorded any. If we recorded any progress, I said it's being rolled back, sadly.
Sadly. All right, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
It's been a great time. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so this is how far we go on to this edition of Signature Morning. It's been an amazing time. Of course, we'll push it to the Abuja studios. Of course, we'll stay on the Signature Morning.
Before one is made a Chief Justice of the Federation, the appointment has to be sanctioned by the National Judicial Council. And for that to be done, the person has to be deemed to be qualified to occupy that position. For instance, there is a particular number of years, because in as much as it is conventional for the Chief Justice of the Federation to be appointed from the serving Justice of the Supreme Court, there is no law that also prohibits the president from even going outside the confines of the Justice of the Supreme Court to appoint a practicing lawyer. For instance, a practicing lawyer who has practiced law for at least up to 10 years in the country is also qualified to be a judge, in which case the president can go outside, the shores of the already existing Justice of the Supreme Court to appoint. So if, for instance, the person you are trying to put forward is not qualified constitutionally to occupy that particular position, then that would be a ground upon which the Senate will say no, that you have forwarded this person's name for us to give our stamp of approval, but we will not do that. Secondly, prima facie, the candidate may be qualified, but there may be an allegation, a very fundamental allegation against that person. Let's say allegation bordering on corruption. If prima facie the allegation is weighty, then the Senate may say that based on public policy, that if you have the right to, to put forward the name or names of candidates, as the case may be, who you want to occupy this particular position, that this particular individual whose name you have forwarded to us, that there are fundamental challenges that has bedeviled his candidacy based on such and so reports. Let's say security reports. If there is a very, not just flimsy, there is a very cogent security report against the person sought to be made the Chief Justice of the Federation, based on that security report, the Senate can say, based on national interest, that we will not be given our approval, in as much as the president is given that powers to appoint whoever he wants to, subject to the fact that that appointment must be done in line with the Constitution. So it's not an open-ended power. And that's why the National Judicial Council is there to ensure that whoever may be put forward to occupy that position should be someone who is constitutionally qualified to occupy that position.
And now it's time to look at another interview we had with Barrister Oke Gideon. And we talked about the Nigeria Democratic Congress and 2027 chances at the polls. Do take a look. Is the NDC, which is already attracting a lot of attention through new entrants and positioning early in key states like ENUGU. And our guest today is Honorable Barrister Oke Gideon Amo, who is a legal practitioner, a political scientist, and a senatorial aspirant under the NDC in ENUGU North. And he's here to discuss the direction of the NDC and its prospects ahead of the 2027 elections. You're welcome to Signature Morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's talk about the NDC. How would you describe the NDC at this point, and what would you say sets NDC apart from other opposition parties that are currently at play in Nigeria?
NDC, like its motto appears, service to the people. If we'll be having those kind of services NDC is coming up with, we'll be having a problem in Nigeria. NDC is a brand new party. The founder is an elder lawyer and a leader that has been tested and trusted. He was a member of House of Representatives, was a former governor of Bayelsa State, and is a sitting senator. And no doubt that NDC is in good hands. NDC is being valued because of the credibility of those who are in NDC, either as a leader or the party leadership, national leader or party leadership, but more especially the prospective candidates, presidential candidates, and other candidates across the board in Nigeria. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso is leaders that have been tested and nobody have a doubt that they will deliver. Both of them were candidates, presidential candidates in 2023 general election, and they did credibly well, irrespective of some political shenanigans. And since then, both, especially P2P, have left a lot of people in no doubt that the leadership of Nigeria, the challenges, you understand most of our challenges, and have the ability and humility, the competence to approach it. With Kwankwaso, we believe that Nigeria will be in good hand, God's willing. And that's why NDC had over 12 or a neighborhood of 12 point something million, if I'm correct, in few days of them joining NDC. I've been in NDC for the past 2 months. We knew the prospect that is coming. A good number of them have joined NDC. Senator Benani, Senator Mararafa. So we knew NDC is a party to beat. No doubt.
Right. Just to expand further, there is this idea of new opposition platforms springing up without particularly having a specific political philosophy or ideology guiding them. So can you enlighten us more on what is that ideology? What's that thing, apart from just a new opposition platform, what is that ideology or philosophy that is pushing the NDC and that the NDC wants the public to know, to have trust in them and to follow them?
Once again, like I said before, NDC want to take the governance to the people.
Okay.
That have been the major challenges we have, especially in this very democratic dispensation that started in 2009 up to date. Political parties come with a lot of promises, but all we have gotten so far, all we got so far is promises. What NDC intend to do is to return the governance to the people. How do they return the governance to the people? Especially youth and women. They say it. If you listen to the national leader and the party leadership, they'll be saying it. The credibility of people who are failing at the center is those who understand the challenges Nigeria is facing. There is a serious challenge in terms of developmental projects, the sincerity, the accountability in Nigeria. 2 hours will not be enough for us to explain the challenges facing Nigeria. But in a nutshell, our problem has been we're a consuming nation. P2B have been singing about the productivity. And not only that, we have to be productive, we have to be transparent. You know, we have to provide protection to human life. We have to provide social amenities. All this has been observed the other way around. NDC want to take it to the youths, want to take it to the women. So NDC is a clear-cut, have a clear-cut agenda, quite different from plethora of parties that have come and gone, or that are still existing.
All right. You were a senatorial candidate under the SDP in 2023, and you mentioned when you were speaking that you've stayed in the NDC for about 2 months now.
Yes.
So, at what point did you conclude or decide that the SDP was no longer, compatible with your political objectives, and you had to move to the NDC?
Yes, my migration into the NDC was not as a result of me having any problem with into the NDC was not as a result of me having any problem with SDP. SDP is a good party on its own, but legally you understand what is going on in ADC. It happened in PDP, it happened in a level. There are a lot of legal issues pending before the courts. There are 2 factions of which I'm very sure in SDP. One is led by Alhaji Sadiq, the other is led by Shehu Gabam. Gabam just won a recent case in Court of Appeal. I'm making INEC to recognize him back as the national chairman of the SDP. So, if you, as a lawyer, I know the implication, because we still have another level, which is the appellate court to go. So the uncertainty in SDP is my major decision that triggered my decision to leave. Lucky enough, NDC is already on ground then. I look at the ideology, I approached the leadership, and it was fantastic to my dreams and ambitions on what I have to do for my people if given opportunity. And I joined. I'm a registered member of NDC. Of course, having resigned from SDP.
Of course. Let's also look at, the electoral system in Nigeria. I also understand that you filed a lawsuit against INEC previously, and over the delay of conducting a by-election in ENUGU North. And from your legal action and from what you were able to find out concerning INEC, what do you have to say about the handling of electoral vacancies and electoral processes in Nigeria?
Well, the handling of electoral processes and vacancies in Nigeria is a constitutional responsibility of INEC. INEC is a creation of the Constitution under Section 158 and 3rd Schedule of the Constitution of 1999, of Nigeria 1999 as amended. And so far, as an organization which is a juristic entity, it has come up with they have made some mistakes and they have developed quite some things well. So they are carrying out their constitutional responsibility based on their knowledge. But if a place when one is disgruntled or felt INEC have not done well, you have a right to approach court. And that what prompted me to approach court. And before now, it started in 2017. Let me give you a short story on how I got into politics. Late Senator Okechukwu Eza of blessed memory, distinguished Senator Okechukwu Eza was the one who gave me a call that somebody recommended me to do a job for him. And I said, okay. In our discussion, he told me that administration of Ifeanyi is within administrators to run the local governments. And that is against the tenet of the Constitution, which I agreed. And I did it free of charge. I went to court. Eventually, the state conducted the election in November 2017 and I withdrew the action because Section 7 is clear that the officials of the local government must be democratically elected, and most state governors have violated it, and they do that deliberately. Not because they don't have their lawyers giving them the legal advice, but I choose to challenge it, and I did, and they did the right thing. Then, having said that, in 2022, when we're about to go to the election, it became obvious that as Labour, we needed to come from all angles to stop a particular candidate whom the zone do not love. Okechukwu Eza, of blessed memory, approached me again that I should please pick up a form in SDP, which I did. And INEC, on 20th of September 2022, after the final list of the candidates, I couldn't find my name in the INEC list. And I approached the court to seek redress. And I got judgment against INEC in December 6th, 2022. And I participated, SDP participated in that very election, 2023. Then, after administration of Peter Mbah has taken up office, and the inspiration of those he inherited at the local government level, he appointed the personnel manager at the local government level. Once again, I approached the court. There is no language of such in the Constitution. I fired and served them, and they heed to my advice. NCEC came up with their timetable, conducted the election, and I withdrew. Then, Okeza, coming to where we are now, Okeza, unfortunately, we lost him 18th of November 2025. And the son announced the death on 19th. We thought it's a joke, and it becomes a reality. Then after the burial, he was buried by the family on 13th of February 2026. But in Nsukka zone, the stakeholders of Nsukka, ENUGU North Senatorial District, honored him and gave him a final rights, if it were a kind of last respect, pay their last respect. On 17th, I came in from Abuja and I participated. Because somebody who, whatever I am now politically, is one who triggered my consciousness, political consciousness. Apart from being a lawyer and a political scientist, I've always believed that I don't love the system. I don't have money to, the way they go about it. The gangsterism in politics always put me off. But he encouraged me, no, if all decent men run away, who will now participate? If it's the gangsters that buy the forms and participate, the leaders eventually will become gangsters. So I was motivated because number one, he's right. If anybody must participate in politics among the intellectuals, a lawyer and a political scientist all in one, then what is the essence of all the theories in school if I don't participate? So I started listening to him. And I told our people that the days are so much that we have right to go against INEC to give us, bring out the timetable for our by-election. And nobody believed that it's possible. I spoke to legal minds of the Nsukka North extraction. Nobody believed it's possible. I looked at section 176, 1 and 2, 68, 1 and 2, because their belief is that until the Senate President writes a letter to the INEC declaring the Senate vacant, there is nothing INEC can do. I said, no. You don't tell me that. The provisions of the Constitution, section 68 or 76, 1 and 2, did not say that. And you can't give an interpretation of the Constitution outside this provision. There are plethora of authorities to that effect from the Apex Court. I disagreed. I went to National Assembly, get the proceedings that is required, specifically on 25th of November 2025, where distinguished Senator Sitango moved the motion as regards to the death of Okeza, and the Senate observed 1 minute silence. I got that. What I'm trying to establish is that there is a vacancy in National Assembly as a result of Okeza's passage, demise. And that happened. I got that. I have written to INEC on a letter dated 10th and acknowledged by them on 12th of January, telling them about the death of Okeza, because I want to prepare myself, because I know my people might say, think it's not possible. And I know INEC 2027 election coming, will be busy. By-election will be least of their problem. Then after the burial, nobody believed that it's possible. In short, some legal mind called my brothers in ENUGU North. I should not bother about going to court. It's no longer possible. I didn't listen to anybody, and I left. On 24th of February, I served them an ultimatum. Pre-action, we call it in law, pre-action notice. Even though I don't need it to sue INEC, but there's nothing wrong in surplusage. I did that. INEC did not respond. Then I went to court. I got all my documents, I went to court, and as we speak today, there is a judgment against INEC. And INEC has given a date, 20th of June 2026 for by-election, not only in Nsukka this time around, and all that. But it did not stop there. On 27th of March 2026, I flew down to ENUGU and organized a world press conference to reactivate the political consciousness of the ENUGU people, to speak against that. About 15 media outfits, including NTA and other TV stations and national dailies, they got the attention of the National Assembly. And they declared the state vacant on either 30th or 31st of March.
All right. So now that you are contesting for this senatorial seat for ENUGU North, what is the most pressing representation gap that the people of ENUGU North are currently experiencing due to this vacancy that you hope to fill should you win this position?
The most pressing gap, as a press person, you know, you live in Nigeria and they kill people every day. ENUGU North, I stand to be corrected, is the neighborhood of 53-54% of ENUGU state population. There is terrorists killing it all the time. Who will now present the happenings of our senatorial district before the national attention? Since Okeza's demise, that we don't have anybody speaking for us on that aspect. On socio-economic development, he did his best, but there is always a need, a continuous need. In his absence, a lot of challenges have emanated, but there is nobody to speak, to get the federal government attention for the district. There have been some elements of recruitment or putting up positions in the federal parastatals or state parastatals. A senator of the Federal Republic is an important, like they call it, distinguished. So nobody is speaking from that angle. There is agitation of state creations that Okeza was in the forefront. Since he died, Adada as a state, the lobby have stopped. Not because our people stopped, but being a sitting senator is the center of it all. Of course, other representatives from the ENUGU North and the Federal and the House of Representatives are doing their best. But there's only one senator from that angle against three other ones from the angle. So Oke's presence is being felt. There are a lot of things we lack even as he sits, but he did his best. So his passage is too numerous to overlook. What we are missing is too numerous to overlook. A critical year preceding the general election of 2027 with a critical budget that will be coming from National Assembly and nobody is speaking for ENUGU North Central Zone. It is so damaging to our zone.
So, what factors do you think that would determine who the people of ENUGU trust with this mandate in the by-election?
Yes, some features or factors they trust. Well, the ENUGU people are good people of ENUGU North, Central District are good people of ENUGU State and Nigeria at large. And they don't demand more than decent. What an average leader owes the society, the citizenry. What they demand? The competence. Number one, at the senatorial level, you must have the intellectual capacity. You are not going to send straight urchins to National Assembly, to the Red Chamber. So it must be somebody who have the capacity of understand the job at hand. The job at hand is the compendium of legislative duties and the ability to discern which policy is good, which policy is not good. And that's where I come in. You must not be a drug addict. You must be somebody who they can trust, who is competent in what you do, who is transparent, and who the source of your money, at least they know, can be traceable. And that's where I come in. I'm in an advanced stage of my public policy analysis at PhD level. I'm also a lawyer. I've done a good jobs at national, both international and local jobs related to legislative duties. So in terms of drafting, it's a part of my duty on daily basis. Part of policy is part of my study as a political scientist in all these years.
So since you are contesting under the NDC in 2027,
yes.
What prospects do you see for the NDC, particularly looking at the other political parties that will be coming out as well to contest in the elections? Do you think that the NDC has that bandwidth, that strength, that capacity to, to pull that much people for victory in 2027?
Wow, interesting question. I love this. And I will also ask you to, look back in the annal of the history, annal of the Nigerian political history, even during the colonial days, or since we got our independence in 1960, or since after the Civil War, when the democracy returned in 1979, and tell me, which party, in short, in Africa, which party in a space of, say, 10 days of particular candidates joining the party got over 10 million in less than a week, 2 days? I don't know anyone. You can educate me if you know anyone. In terms of national mobilization, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. The party itself is not because we have not been having parties. It is because of the credibility of the leader, founder of the party, the credibility of the leadership, the national leadership of the party, then the credibility and the popularity of the presidential and prospective presidential and vice candidates of the party. Nigerians trust them in en masse, and by the time they are officially the presidential candidate, you see the en masse. Obi can beat any candidate of the southern extraction in their own district. And I believe so. He can do this, shake the same way in the north. With the Kwakwanzo, the northwest has the largest vote. If you check the registered votes in the INEC portal, because of their large population and their political consciousness, whether educated or not, they have a more political consciousness. So the issue is with the Kwakwanzo, and their Obi's acceptance now in the north is far more than what it used to be in 2023. So with the campaign now to January, I doubt if INEC and Nigerian government can be transparent and avoid unnecessary some political machinations and shenanigans that a kind of, gag our democracy and restrict some rights and do what they are supposed to do by being transparent as an electoral empire. No party. I can beat my chest. Mark today's the 13th of May 2026. No party, and call me back in January, will beat NDC as it stands today. Let INEC do what they're supposed to do by being a neutral umpire. No party in Nigeria today. This.
Okay, but just to, you sound very confident, and that is good. But we've seen a lot of parties with so much confidence. The ADC was very much confident that they would be the opposition coalition, and now we see how that turned out. You also mentioned even the party you led, SDP, also having multiple factions and what have you. So what would you say is a structural weakness in the party structure in Nigeria that NDC needs to be mindful of so that they don't become victims of what has happened in other parties before 2027?
In terms of what is the challenge? Let me say it categorically. You don't need to be educated. You don't need to be somebody who has a political consciousness to know that, for example, PDP's crisis was triggered by external forces. You will agree with me on that. You will also agree with me that Labour's crisis was triggered by external forces. What happened in ADC was instigated by external forces. And some personal idiosyncrasies, which I don't want to use the wrong word, some being obsessive about power, it must be me. And that was what led to that. And you know, we can't operate democracy without the rule of law. That is the engine room. It's the threshold of democracy, rule of law. Because when the military says, do this, even if they are wrong, their motto is obey the last command. But democracy is a duly system of system of government that gives right for divergent opinion and weigh it and bring it to majority, who will always have their way, while minority will always have their say. So if you actually practice democracy, there must be rule of law. And in a situation there is a forces from external triggering one legal suit or the other, and plethora of judgments come flying up and down, you cannot, as a party created by law, and disobey court order. Then where is the rule of law? So when you look at your perspective in party, or know that even if you are given a ticket, or you won your primaries and become a flag bearer of the party and win the election, and somebody approach court when there is a legal default, court can nullify all those things either before or through the tribunal, either through the pre-election or through the tribunal. So everybody who is in politics look at a place where he will not have a legal challenge, because it's a legal process we are following. It's the law that laid the whole thing down. So if you are offense the law, it cannot stand. Just like keeping this biro when my hand is not here. Definitely, if I take off this one, it will fall. So it cannot stand. So what have transpired is not natural. Any political observer will know that it's not natural. There is power, forces, particularly from national administration of the APC government, who sees a particular candidate as a threat. And anywhere he goes, there will always be a way of instigating problem. If Obi have joined ADC by January, for example, or the moment, like for so long he have joined the ADC, there would have been a problem. As I speak to you, effort is being made on how to truncate NDC's progress. But so far, they are sitting now in a good footing in time with our laws. Never can tell tomorrow they wake up and say, and this, and this, that. Somebody will go to court and say this. Court must hear everybody. No matter how frivolous the suit might be, the court must always hear the parties to the case. It is anchored on our, is a fundamental constitutional provision. The principle of fair hearing. You must hear all the parties. So if I said, I just wake up and said the NDC did not even register at all, I approach Federal High Court here in ENUGU. The judge will not say no. You will hear NDC. It will hear me.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox. It's a lens. One that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge